let me know when we're live.
You are live.
All right, thank you. Good morning, everybody. This is the July 13th, 2023 Coastal Permit Administrator hearing. And I'd like to state that the Mendocino County Coastal Permit Administrator meetings will be conducted at 860 North Bush Street, Ukiah, California, and virtual attendance will also be available via Zoom. Meetings are live streamed and available for viewing on the Mendocino County YouTube page. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order at 11:01 a.m. May I please get a determination of noticing?
All items on the agenda have been properly noticed.
Thank you. And we are still waiting for a staff member for item number 3A. So I'm going to go ahead and move the agenda around and proceed to item 3B, which is case CDP 2022-0030. The owner is Scott and Ashley Knapp. Applicant is Scott Knapp. The request is an after-the-fact major vegetation removal of 14 trees, single-family dwelling additions, construction, accessory structures, and removal of a water tower, proposed gated wooden fence varying in height from 3.5 to 6 feet, and a 4,588 square feet of paved driveway. Removed trees will be partially replaced with new redwoods. And the project has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA. Project is located within the coastal zone 3.2 plus minus miles southwest of the center of Fort Bragg, along the east side of Pacific Way. After it turns north, 0.35 plus minus miles west of its intersection with Ocean Drive, located at 33,550 Pacific Way in Fort Bragg. Assessor's parcel number 017-320-27. May I please get a staff report?
Certainly. So this is something of an omnibus request comprising a number of components that are already existing and they're seeking retroactive approval for, and additional components that are proposed. So the after-the-fact components are the major vegetation removal of 14 Monterey cypress and Monterey pine trees, the clear cutting of the parcel, additions to the single-family residence, construction of a well house and a gas house, and removal of a water tower. The proposed components, the ones that don't already exist, are the wood fence and the 4,588 square feet of paved driveway. And then additionally, they are proposing planting new redwoods, although it should be noted that the planting of trees in and of itself does not require a coastal development permit. It should also be noted that the parcel is not in a highly scenic area, but it is adjacent to one. A biological scoping survey was prepared by the project by Spade Natural Resources Consulting, dated July 21st, 2022. Found that the removed trees did not constitute special status vegetation alliance and were considered planted trees, not native. And they recommended no mitigations addressing the trees specifically, nor did they recommend any mitigations addressing the after-the-fact work. They did recommend some precautionary pre-construction measures, though again, the actual amount of new construction is limited. Nonetheless, those have been included in the recommended conditions of approval. In addition, staff recommends an additional condition addressing the driveway installation, imposing best management practices for erosion control. Also want to note that the driveway will require an encroachment permit from the County Department of Transportation and a grading permit. Those have both also been explicitly called out in the recommended conditions of approval. As the site is adjacent to a highly scenic area, staff also recommends condition 12, requiring that all lighting associated with the project be shielded or otherwise kept from shining beyond property lines. Staff did not feel that these conditions affected the eligibility of the project to be considered categorically exempt from CEQA and recommend that it be considered categorically exempt. It should be noted that categorical exemptions cannot cover removal of healthy, mature, scenic trees, except for forestry or agricultural purposes. But staff felt that on the balance of the information provided, the affected trees were not considered scenic. Public comment was received by phone from multiple commenters on this project. The these comments focused mostly on the tree removal. Several commenters were, for lack of a better word, dismayed at the removal and wanted to see stronger analysis of the replacement trees, and also pointed out that nothing would require the applicant to follow through with the planting of the new redwoods. And this is true. Although the planting of new redwoods in 3 locations on the site plan is proposed, as it stands, nothing about the proposal would require the applicant to follow through with this component any more than issuing this permit would require them to follow through with putting up the fence. It's just a separate component of the application. It's not necessarily something that is required. Given this, staff are recommending an additional condition which was not published with the staff report for this meeting but is available, essentially requiring that this planting occur within the period of this permit, so within 2 years, or if they want to seek an extension by amending the permit, they could do that as well. That concludes my presentation. Staff's available for questions.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this point, I'm going to ask if the applicant wishes to speak on this matter. Mr. Knapp, do you have any questions, concerns, comments?
Hello,
Yes, go ahead. Please state your name for the record.
Scott Knapp.
Do you have any questions, concerns, or comments regarding this applicant? As you already
Yes, please, sir. It sounded like just about until the very last couple of minutes there that the planting of the redwoods was actually not required. But it sounds like it is now. There's been an additional, some type of amendment or something like that. It appears that I do need to be planting those, or if I do plant them, I have to do them within the 2-year period of this permit. Is that correct? Or do I have to plant these trees, or is that something that I proposed that you guys are finding that it's actually optional, or do I need to do this as part of my permit?
So what staff has mentioned is that the application notes that this is something that you're proposing on doing. However, there's no assurances or requirements that you do that. And what staff is offering is a new condition that basically states that the planting of the redwood trees in the 3 locations identified by the applicant on the site plan shall occur no less than 2 years from the issuance of the permit, unless an amendment has been approved by the coastal permit administrator. Failure to complete this portion of the project shall render the permit subject to revocation or modification. And again, this is what staff is offering right now to address this issue. As noted by staff, you've indicated that you're going to do this on the application, but there's no, it's not built into the permit at this point that happened. And so they're just offering this condition.
Oh, okay. I do have about a couple. I got about a dozen baby redwood trees that I've been waiting to plant until after this hearing was going to be completed. I'll go ahead and do that, like my plan shows. And I just wanted to just kind of double check. I do understand that I did put that on my proposal, and one of the reasons why, or the main reason why, sir, was because, I was found, or it was found that I cut these trees as a vegetation removal, and in doing so, it was, my duty, is based on where I live, and it's, I need to replant and rebirth, life in those locations somehow, some way, to the best of my ability. And so that's why I proposed to do that. But I just was questioning, well, it didn't sound like it was actually a requirement based on the fact that these weren't native trees, that these were all planted trees. And but I'd be happy to plant them. That's not a not a big deal for me. Like I said, it's on my proposal. I'll follow through with that, no problem. So.
Okay, well, that sounds good. And again, staff is offering this as a condition of approval, which I'm considering right now, but I want to go ahead and just hear any public testimony on this right now. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'll like to add that the water tower was already previously removed, but I was advised by the planning department here locally in Fort Bragg to include this on the CDP. I had an approved permit to demolish that, and I went through the necessary steps to get that permit approved and went ahead and proceeded with that work and got that permit signed off. So
Okay.
the removal of that water tower has already been completed. Just wanted to make sure that that was known now, at least if it wasn't before. But that was, I went through the necessary steps on that. I was never advised that that would require a CDP when I originally did that. But when I went to the planning department to apply for the CDP after the major vegetation removal was found, I was told to include that just to make sure that that would be included as like an umbrella under this permit, as well as all the existing structures, which apparently were not previously permitted. So Tia advised me to include that on my elevation plans and in the and on the plot plan itself, all those other structures. That's all those were existing when we purchased this home last year. So I just was trying to, I guess you could say, kind of play catch up with everything that was previously existing on the property, as well as the proposals, the fence, the driveway, which those two pieces have not been done yet, but like the tree removal, installing the septic risers, those have been done. So just wanted to, give my 2 cents on the situation and just make sure that everybody's on the same page. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Yeah, just wanted to just get that off my chest. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for including that in the public record.
If I may, Robert Simmons, County Planner, it does appear that there was a procedural oversight, essentially. A demolition permit, building permit was pulled for the removal of the water tower. That does constitute development, and so a coastal development permit should have been secured prior to that, and wasn't. The demolition permit was approved and finalized. So this is essentially just
Going back and cleaning it up.
yes.
Okay, perfect. No, thank you, Mr. Knapp, for that information. And thank you for putting that on the public record. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to go ahead and open the meeting for the public. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter? If so, please raise your hand. Once again, are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'm going to bring it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. And I understand what's being done here is basically this is an after the fact to address everything that's been done, including the vegetation removal and the demolition of the structures. It has been stated in the application and the request that trees are going to be planted, although there is no assurances that that will be done, but Mr. Knapp has pointed out that he's going to do that. He's got quite a few, as he said, baby redwoods that are ready to plant, and we'll follow through with that. I don't see any harm in adding a condition, and I'm just going to go ahead and add condition number 15, because it's going to be done anyway, that the planting of the redwoods in 3 locations identified on the applicant's site plan shall occur no less than 2 years from the issuance of the permit. They just have to be planted, and what I'll say here is shall be planted, planting and maintenance of the trees. And basically we're talking about planting and maintaining over the next 2 years is what we're looking at. And redwoods are very conducive to the area and should not require maintenance after the 2 years. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and find that the project is categorically exempt.
Sorry, one quick additional point. when staff was putting in the additional proposed condition, there were also a few minor typographical errors that were corrected in this new draft. They don't change any aspect of the project.
Okay.
I just wanted to let that be known.
Okay, well then we'll see that in the final document that goes to the Coastal Commission. Okay, so I'll go ahead and approve the project, find that it is categorically exempt. Per findings in the staff report, those do not change, but we are going to have a modification or an addition, condition 15, as presented by staff, with my addition of just the planting and maintenance of redwood trees. And Mr. Knapp, your project is, oh, you have your hand up. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add one last thing about the redwoods. There was quite a lot of deer in our area, and until I actually will build a fence, deer are on our property every day. And from what I've been told by the person that actually gifted me these baby redwoods is these deer, I guess they like to eat them.
Yes,
So-
I would recommend putting them in little cages, little fence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should help.
Okay. Yeah, will do. I'll do my best to get those things protected. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So your project's approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, can we then? I got to ask: is it's officially approved as of today? Now, can I start building my fence today if I wanted to, or do I need to wait any longer?
There's an appeal period. What'll happen is this can still be appealed by the Coastal Commission as well as any other party. So we have to wait that period out. And Rob, what is that period? Is
I
it
believe
10
that's 10 working days.
10 working days. So in 10 days from today, if no appeals have been filed, then it's deemed approved at that point without appeal.
And the
Yes.
fence will not require an additional building permit.
Nope, the fence can be built, but I would recommend not doing that until the appeal period has lapsed. Mr. Knapp, you have your hand up again.
Yes. So, will I be notified then by Mr. Fitzsimmons, like an official email, perhaps, or just saying, "Hey, Scott, this is it's gone through the Coastal Commission appeal process, and you're clear, and you can proceed with your improvements now." I just
Yes, that will
10 days
occur.
from now, I don't.
Yes, that will occur. You'll get a copy of the final permit.
Perfect. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're moving back to the first item. And the first item, we had skipped around. Now we're back to item 3A, which is CDP 2019-0018. This is a continued item from February 9th, 2023. The owner applicant is Anna Denise Moody. The request is a standard coastal development permit after the fact to permit 2 120 square foot storage buildings, replace 2 footings and siding to legal non-conforming 450 square foot outbuilding. The request includes removal of an unpermitted 64 square foot playhouse, hot tub, plumbing, electrical panel and line, a fence from inside the dunes, and a greenhouse by the entrance. The project has been determined to be categorically exempt. The project is located in the coastal zone, 3.2 plus minus miles north of Cleone, on the west side of State Route 1, located at 27730 North Highway 1. Assessor's parcel number 069-010-13. And please get a staff report.
Thank you, Coastal Permit Administrator. Hello, I am Planner TSR. Today I'm presenting CDP 2019-0018. Just as the CPA mentioned and discussed in the staff report, the applicant submitted this coastal development permit as part of their effort to address a code violation inquiry that was opened on March 22nd, 2018. The project was presented and discussed at the Coastal Permit Administrator meeting on January 12, 2023, and February 9, 2023. At the meeting, the applicant proposed to revise the application. The project was continued to allow applicant time to resubmit the application and staff time to revise the staff report. On March 30th, 2023, applicant resubmitted the revised application. The project site is within the rural residential zoning district, as shown on the zoning display map. The proposed project to remove and permit after the fact accessory structures are consistent uses within the rural residential zoning code, MCC section 20.376. Therefore, as proposed, the project would be consistent with the goals and policies of Coastal Element Chapter 2.2. On September 22nd, 2021, a referral was sent out to multiple agencies for recommendations and comments. Please see conditions of approval detailed in the staff report, especially condition 9 through 13. Staff recommends approval of the proposed project. This concludes my presentation, and I am available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So staff has found that all of the items have been adequately addressed based on the continuance, and for this reason, staff is recommending approval, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. So I will go ahead and ask the applicant to, if they wish to speak on this matter. Ms. Moody, you're muted. Would you like to speak on this matter?
Thanks. I'm Anna Moody, and I don't have any comments at this time.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I will ask if there's any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter. I see another name on the screen, Tatiana Garcia. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on this matter?
So Tatiana says she's just listening in.
Okay. All right. So I will go ahead and return it back to the Coastal Permit Administrator. And basically what I'm looking at here is I'm happy with everything that's been resolved and how things have come together. However, I'm going to go ahead and add an additional condition of approval to this, and it's basically it's going to be condition number 14. It just says that all conditions of approval for CDP 2019-0018 shall be included on all grading and building permit requests and shall be clearly noted or printed on all plans. And that's just a condition that's been missed, but I'd like to see that added. And all that does is ensure that the conditions are picked up at the time of the building permit is reviewed and processed. And again, it doesn't change the project in any way. All it does is it basically captures the conditions on the building permit. And that's basically it. I don't know if staff has any closing remarks.
Staff do not. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So with that, I will go ahead and approve CDP 2019-0018, find that it is categorically exempt from CEQA, approving the project subject to the findings contained in the staff report, and adding condition number 14. And Ms. Moody, your project is approved.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that, do we have any matters from staff? Moving on to item number 4. Seeing none, do we have any matters from the public? Coastal Permit Administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the Coastal Permit Administrator, which are not on the posted agenda, and items which have not already been considered by the Coastal Permit Administrator. So no action will be taken, but this is an opportunity to just receive public input from the public. Seeing none, I will go ahead and move to item number 6, which is the adjournment of the meeting. And I adjourn the meeting at 11:26 a.m. Thank you very much.